Good morning. Welcome to the video version of the Scriptorium. It's an exciting day for me because the first carton, the sort of advanced carton of the whole shipment of my new book, The Resistance, just came FedEx yesterday from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Thought I'd give you a little bit of the way I write. I write visually, and my son found this World War II helmet, and it was sitting by my computer much of the time that I was writing The Resistance, and very sobering to see the bullet hole in the helmet. But now, for the moment of truth, I'd like to go ahead and open this. I have not seen The Resistance. I've not held The Resistance in my hand. I wrote the book. I've seen the galley proofs. I've had to prove all that. But here's the first time I thought I'd share that with you, my listeners and viewers here on the Scriptorium. My little Dirk here, ready to go. We're going to open this carton, and then we're going to look at the first of the Scriptorium. There's a number of you that have pre-ordered, and so in fact this afternoon, my wife and I will be shipping a bunch of books. A number of them have already been shipped to various distribution outlets around the country, and we'll be shipping to the UK on Monday and other places, and to individuals that have ordered from bondbooks.net, which you're welcome to do as well. Well, here they are. I'm seeing them for the first time, and so will you. That's The Resistance. It was a exciting book to write, not always fun to write about war. World War II, lots of death and lots of devastation to millions and millions of people, combatants and otherwise. But this book starts in the cockpit of a B-17, and you follow the fortunes of Eli Evans, the young pilot of that plane that is shot down over enemy-occupied Normandy, and they will collude with the French resistance, but then you never know who is on your side in France, because of course France collaborated officially with the Nazis. And so there was a lot of confusion and concern about who to trust in Normandy. Interestingly, the French resistance got all of their coded messages from listening to BBC broadcasts, which was my connection to my World War I book, War in the Wasteland. Some of you have already read that. We do have a 2-book bundle at bondbooks.net at a special rate for you right now. You can go to that and order. Makes great gifts. But in this book, C.S. Lewis is the antagonist. It's set in the Somerset Light Infantry in C.S. Lewis's platoon. And he is a bitter teen atheist, shaking his fist at the God he says doesn't exist and writing blasphemous poetry to him. He tells us in Surprised by Joy that they had endless arguments in the trenches with Christians and theists that were officers in World War I, and that were pushing back on his supposed atheism. I don't think there really are any atheists out there. I know they're not, because we're made in God's image. But we do suppress the truth and unrighteousness, don't we? So a lot happens between this book and this book. 25 years of history in C.S. Lewis's life. And he goes from being that bitter, angry teen atheist second lieutenant to being the chief apologist of the 20th century. Is that an overstatement? Well, probably not. Lewis didn't get everything right, but what he did get right, he probably said better than just about anybody said it. Well, in this book, you see the grace of God at work in those decades. And Lewis is now sought out by the BBC to be the voice of faith. And so the thread that runs between these two books is that the French resistance has to tune into the BBC broadcast talks, and occasionally those broadcast talks are C.S. Lewis. And I got to select the snatches of C.S. Lewis's apologetic that they would hear, and then sometimes hotly debate, and all in the midst of the rising action on a Waffen-SS manhunt to try and find these pilots and his navigator, Charlie Tucker, and also the complication of double agents that have become a secondary agent, sometimes under duress, for their very life's sake. So there's a lot going on in this book. It's an exciting book. Cover art done by my friend down in Brazil, Marco Rodriguez, a brilliant artist and university art professor down there in Christian. We met originally because he was reading my two Ligonier biographies, The Poetic Wonder of Isaac Watts and The Mighty Weakness of John Knox, which are both now in Portuguese. And he did a portrait of me, actually, along with a number of others, and that's where we made connections. He offered the portrait to me with his gratitude for the books, and that was history. And now he's done my first cover for me, the first cover he's done for me, and maybe more in the offing in the future here. Go to bondbooks.net and you can get your copy of the Scriptorium. It's also on ebook on Amazon. You can buy a copy. I can't sign that copy for you, but if you order from bondbooks.net, I'll sign a copy. I'll put it in the mail, free shipping, domestic shipping to you, and we'll get it right out to you. If you want to buy multiple copies for gifts, that's not a bad idea this time of year. And also, again, the two-book bundle of C.S. Lewis as the Atheist and C.S. Lewis as the Voice of Faith on his BBC broadcast talks. Thanks for tuning in to the video version of the Scriptorium. Happy reading.